I have definitely like used foil as a reflective surface to stretch lights.
Hi, welcome to Lilies and Tomatoes, your go-to place for simple and practical tips and tricks on how to start a garden all the way through how to use what you grow. This is from my live class that I teach on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on Facebook. If you'd like to attend a live class or ask me a question, check out the link in the description.
If we have not met, my name is Quincey Adams, and I want to help you grow some of your own food in a small space on a budget. Let's get started. Okay, so light is a little bit, actually everything is complicated, but I'm going to keep this simplified, keep the light broken down into 3 categories. So we're going to talk about full sun, partial shade, and shade plants, and then I will get into different kinds of like grow lights or lights in your house. So first of all, just on a spectrum, for full sun loving plants, it's going to be, they can handle an unlimited amount of unshaded sunlight on the high end, but they need at least 6 hours of light on the low end to really thrive and grow. And if you have plants in your house, you want to put those kinds of plants in a south-facing window. A south-facing window with an unobstructed view is going to get sun all day long. Partial shade loving plants, those are plants that on the high side can handle shade, like they can handle light for half the day, but they need to be protected from the sun at the strongest part of the day. And on the low end, that's going to be at least 2 hours of full sun. And so for in your house, plants, you're going to want to put them in either an east or west facing window. So they're either going to get sun when the sun comes up in the morning, or they're going to get sun in the afternoon when the sun's on its way down. For shade tolerant plants, they can handle no direct sunlight. So that's going to be dappled sun or like partial shade all day long. They need at least 1 hour of sunlight, but low shade plants can handle being put in a north-facing window. So that's shade-tolerant plants. So full sun is at least 6 hours, south-facing window, unlimited sunlight. Partial shade is half-day sun or dappled sun, east or west-facing windows, 2 hours of full sun. Shade-loving plants, that's going to be dappled light as well, or no direct sunlight, or less than an hour of sunlight, north-facing windows. Now let's talk about plant lights inside your house, because this is a little bit complicated, but I'm just going to simplify. So if you have something with a really low light requirement, like a vining house plant, those can live with just the lights in your house. You don't have to do anything special for them. They don't need any plant lights, grow lights, nothing. Just whatever light bulbs you have in your house, they're okay. But if you have plants that need like something more intense, or they need a little bit more heat, then you're going to look into doing some other different kinds of light configurations. So you can go with incandescent light bulbs. This is actually a plant light. So, and I just rated my house to see what I had. I don't currently have a lot of grow lights set up, but I've had them in my old apartments. So this is a plant light. This, you have to get a special kind of lamp for this. You can't just put an incandescent plant bulb in any kind of outlet because they get hot. So you need to make sure that you're not like putting this into a lamp that needs like, that can only handle a 60 watt or a 40 watt bulb, because these things get hot. You can use fluorescent bulbs. I've had quite a setup using these type of fluorescent bulbs. I've used these for years. And I'll show you what it looks like. This isn't anything fancy. It's a grow light. It's a fluorescent light. And I've had these hung to the bottom of shelves to keep my plants going in the wintertime. This is a pretty decent light. The thing is, it's not super eco-friendly because it is cheaper to just buy a new light than to replace the bulbs inside. Because I looked into trying to order them online, and the bulbs are more expensive than the actual just buying the whole light. So cheap, but not eco-friendly. And then when you get into LED lights, depending on what you're growing, you could get away with just a regular LED light, with just like any of the LED light bulbs that you can buy, or you might have to get a grow light. So if you're trying to like just get some seedlings started, a regular LED light is going to be okay. But if you want your plants to grow taller, then you're going to want to get some grow lights that have different light spectrums. So like a regular LED light is going to be on a white and yellow light spectrum. And grow lights are also going to include the reds and the blues. So a lot of times grow lights will either have multiple bulbs with different colors, or it'll have like, sometimes they have different modes. So like this one, I bought this online. So I have a couple different versions of these, but they have different modes to them. So you can flip them to like red and blue spectrums, and red and blue spectrums are best for helping your plants get taller. So if you just have seedlings, it doesn't matter. But if you've got plants that you're trying to grow them taller, a lot of times you're going to see grow lights that look purple because they need to have those red and blue light spectrums in order for the plant to grow tall. And then one little thing that I always use, if I have a bunch of LED lights set up in my house and I'm not sharing light for one of my Aero gardens or my smart gardens, I use these little timers. They come in all different kinds, but you can plug them into the outlet, and then you plug the light into the front, and then you set the timers so it like determines how long the light's going to be on. So you don't necessarily need to have them on 24 hours a day, but you can set them for a lot of plants based on like with Aero garden settings. A lot of plants are good in like the 16 to 18 hour range. So I usually set that up so it's going to come on in the morning and then go off at night. So I know if I'm working at my desk and all the lights go out, it's time to go to bed. That's how I like to use the lights. And then I don't have to turn on the other lights in my house. Okay, so let's see if I have any questions. Do you remember what the cost difference in between the fluorescent lights and the incandescent grow light bulbs? The bulb, I don't remember. I've had this for years. I don't have the lamp that I had this plugged into before. I had two kinds of lamps, and I had this bulb for one lamp and then a different kind of bulb for another lamp. So I've got the bulb and the lamp for two different types of lights. So I don't remember. It's been years since I bought those. I do remember that these fluorescent lights though, these were like $15. I've got two of them right now in my basement. At one point I had 4 of them rigged up with zip ties and twisty ties, and I had a bunch of lights hung underneath shelves. So these were really cheap, but to buy the like replacement bulbs was like $20. So I just bought more of these because the replacement bulbs were expensive. And I want to say that this grow light, I also bought a bunch of these. They weren't that expensive, but I'm pretty sure that I got this on like one of those Amazon sale type deals. And I'm pretty sure that's when I bought this, because I was using them to try to keep my citrus trees inside, but they kept dying. And then I realized that it wasn't the lights that was making them die. So almost anything that I buy, I'm going to try to keep it to, like, if it's one item, $20 or less. If it's a bulk buy, then it's going to be, depending on how much I need, either $50 or less or $100 or less. Like, that's how like things work in my mind. When things start to cost more than $100, then I really have to plan for it for months, because that's a big amount of money. I try to do things as cheap as possible and as economical as possible. And sometimes that means that like I go heavy on the foil to like stretch the light. I have definitely like used foil as a reflective surface to stretch lights when I've had plants grouped around Aero gardens, just to save money, but make sure the plants are getting lights. Solo cups are also good for that because they're white on the inside. So white surfaces behind your plants reflect light back to the plants, so you need less lights. That's just an easy way to do that. Any other questions? No, looks like no. Okay, so if there's no other questions, I'm gonna let you guys go for tonight. This was a pretty quick one. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you guys are well, stay safe, stay home, and have a good night. Bye.